Thanks, Glenn. And as we ask everyone, how did you first get involved in baseball?
My dad played, so I was fortunate that he played for New South Wales and Australia. He had to choose between baseball and cricket. When he was younger, he chose baseball, and I grew up loving it. I was around the game a fair bit, and my first games were at a gala day with Ingleburn Magpies. We lived in Ingleburn. Dad drove past the field there and saw all the kids out there training and stopped in and then kind of asked about what was going on. And I think that was maybe a Tuesday, and then by the Saturday I was out there playing 3 games in a gala day. And just loved it and been hooked ever since.
Okay. Now, you had a very successful junior career representing New South Wales and that, but I think it was after a under-16 tournament in Alice Springs where probably your whole world and your life started to change.
Yeah, it was a pretty exciting time in my life, 15 years old, and a chance to play in the National Championships for New South Wales again, and headed up to Alice Springs. And pre that tournament, the year before, we were in Sydney, and a few scouts had come and approached Mum and Dad and spoken to them about the opportunity for potentially me to play professional baseball someday. So it was something that was starting to grow and build, and so I went on a junior national team in 1992 to Mexico. More people seeing me there, and then in 1993 for the National Championships in January. By that time, word had got around, and there was a fair few scouts in town to be able to see me play. So gradually built up from the year before, and it was an exciting time. I played with some really, really good players at that tournament. Grant Balfour was on the team with me. Brad Thomas was on that team. We were playing against guys like Luke Prokopec, Russell Spear, Adrian Burnside. So there's some really, really good players at that tournament, and it was really exciting.
And then after it all settles down, I mean, you probably couldn't sign until around July, but what happened between January and the July period?
It all started to build up, and after that tournament, Mum and Dad were getting phone calls from scouts and professional teams that had plenty of interest in signing me as a player. So at the time, we didn't really have that much information about what it was going to be like other than what we were being told. So Mum and Dad weren't 100% comfortable putting me on a plane as a 16-year-old to go to the States and fend for myself. So in June and July, we jumped on a plane to the States, and we travelled all around the States and went to several big league stadiums where I got a chance to work out with some of the teams and the players, visited a lot of the spring training complexes, and had a look at where the players would be staying and what was going on. It was just to maybe give Mum and Dad a bit of a comfort level of sending their son off at 16 years old to go and play baseball. And for me, it was what I'd wanted to do my whole life. So I was out there playing baseball and loving being on the field, and it was probably more to set their mind at ease than anything else.
And while you're over there, you actually got to train with some of the major league teams?
Yeah, it was incredible. I went over there and we were talking to 12 or 14 different clubs. So our first stop was Los Angeles, and went out there onto Dodger Stadium, full uniform, and taking batting practice off Tommy Lasorda. Billy Cyrus had just released Achy Breaky Heart, and he's out there taking ground balls as a bit of a celebrity, and had a chance to be able to do that. Left LA and said, I want to be a Dodger. Went to all the spring training complexes, which was great, and got a chance to work out in their minor league organisations and with their minor league clubs. Went over to Atlanta and did the same thing. Was in a hitting group with Sid Bream and David Justice, Ron Gant, Ryan Klesko, all of the stars that would hit in the middle of the lineup for the Braves when they were really, really successful in the early 90s. Went up to Minnesota, chance to play catch, have early hitting with Kirby Puckett. Went to Toronto, worked out in the Sky Dome, and chance to sit on the bench actually in the Sky Dome with the Blue Jays. And I sat with Paul Molitor and for the whole game while he was DHing, and had a chance to be able to chat with him. And then in San Diego on the way home, we stopped off and to see Craig Shipley playing in San Diego, and he organised a workout there. So I was out there doing extra BP with Craig Shipley, extra BP with Tony Gwynn, and look at it, at the time I was really enjoying it because I'm hitting in major league stadiums, getting a chance to meet all of these guys. But I look back at it now, and I'm 37, and to think that 20 odd years ago I was 15 years old on major league stadiums with some of the best players in the game.
And look, word was spreading quickly that there was this 15-year-old Australian hitting bombs out of all the major league stadiums. And actually, the rumours are you hit the upper deck a couple of times.
Yeah, the rumours keep growing. I don't know if I'm spreading those rumours or not. I hit a few balls out, but I wasn't going the upper deck, that's for sure.
That's good. And then when it all came to fruition, I mean, it was a mad time, and there was lots of pressure on you after you signed.
Yeah, there's a fair bit of pressure. It was one of those things where at the time I was all I wanted to do was play professional baseball. And from as long as I remember, all I wanted to do was be a big leaguer and play professional baseball. And to think that I was going to get the opportunity was really, really good. There was interest from 12 or 14 different clubs, so it got bigger than Ben Hur. My signing bonus was more than any other player had received internationally. So I got on the plane after negotiations and getting Scott Boras involved as my agent, and ended up signing with the Braves. And so I got off the plane as the 16-year-old who'd got more money than anyone else in the world. And obviously people pay attention to that. Everywhere where I went, people were watching me play. Reporters, Baseball America, all of those people were there to try and see me play, and it's something that as a 16-year-old I didn't potentially handle as well as I could have. Carried myself well, but inside my own head I was over there thinking that I had to be the very best player in the world because that's what they just paid me, and I had to be hitting 300, had to be hitting home runs, had to be driving in runs, making all the plays, and as a 16-year-old competing against some grown men and the rest of the best players in the world, it was probably never ever realistic. It's something that I realise now, and it's one of the regrets that I have in my career, that if I had to approach it differently and just gone over there to just try and get better and improve each and every day, that my career might have taken a different track.
Okay. And then at the end of your tenure with the Braves, how did that all pan out? What was
I had surgery late in 1999 to repair my shoulder. I had loose shoulder capsules, so I kept dislocating my right shoulder and ended up having surgery on that. Came home in the off season, worked really, really hard. Was in probably the best shape of my career, and came back to spring training, ready to go, and was having a good spring training, and got called into the office one morning. Matter of fact, it was a manager that I played for 5 years and had a really good relationship with, and I got the regular old cookie cutter speech that we've had meetings, we don't think that you can play in the big leagues for us, you're not part of our plans, and we'll see you later, we're releasing you. So at that very moment, it was, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I thought my baseball career was over, that was it. I wasn't going to get a chance to play anymore. I was disappointed in the way the message was delivered. I didn't really understand, why I wasn't going to get that opportunity anymore, and I wasn't sure what was going to happen. But fortunately for me, I got released at about 6:30 in the morning on whichever day it was, and by 4 o'clock that afternoon I was in Dunedin, Florida with the Blue Jays and ready to have a physical and get on the field with them. Okay.
And how long have you spent with the Blue Jays?
5 years with the Blue Jays, and it was really good. I really enjoyed being with the Braves organisation. They got great people there. They really, really looked after me, and it was just probably a combination of me being a young player and not understanding how I should go about it, and potentially focusing on numbers as opposed to just getting better. For the Braves, first time probably handling a 16-year-old with all the hype and all of those kind of things, and looking at how they handle players now, they kind of hold players back, whereas I was kind of rushed through the system a little bit. But I got with Toronto, and it was like a breath of fresh air. I was just another player trying to work his way to the big leagues, and I got over there with some great staff and some great people there, and had a chance to play. So I spent 5 years with them. I spent a year in Dunedin. My next year was in AA with the Tennessee Smokies, and I spent 3 years in Syracuse with the Sky Chiefs playing in AAA.
Okay. And then after your time with the Blue Jays, you moved to the Twins?
Yeah, free agent at the end of 2004 after the Olympics. So 2004 was a massive year for me. I got a chance to play every day in AAA and had the best year of my career. And we had a losing team in Toronto, and I was MVP of the team and an all-star in AAA, and had the best year possible. And it was just one of those things where I wasn't in their plans, and they weren't going to give me an opportunity. So Toronto basically said, we enjoy having you around, but you probably owe it to yourself to go somewhere else. So I signed as a free agent with the Twins after that year.